Well, I want to welcome our podcast community. We're going to talk health and fitness. We're going to talk some healthy topics today. And our guest has a connection to something I think you're going to want to know about. But before we start, Terri, tell our guests who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Certainly. Well, I serve God. My name is Terri Harof. I am the Director of Sales, Franchise Development for Workout Anytime, and I am the Chief Brand Believer. I've been in franchising for over a decade. Started out on the restaurant side, selling restaurant franchises. My aha moment was I would never own a restaurant and never let anybody I knew and loved own a restaurant. Not because you can't be successful, because you can, but you're just so tethered to the business. It's a much more challenging, lots of moving pieces, lots of inventory and employees and everything else. And I've been in the health and wellness space literally since college. That's when I first started working at the first gym, was when I was in college, and I fell in love with it. I started teaching group fitness classes back in those days. And not that it's been a long time or anything, but I'm still teaching group fitness classes today. All these years later, I've got 3 kids. I taught through every pregnancy, was back within 6 weeks. So I live it. I love it. I completely believe in who I work with and work for and what I sell, for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I did 12 years on the distributor side of restaurants, and I would tell my friends, the last thing you want to do is get into business.
Don't do it.
Hard. You're right. There's so many moving pieces. I had a friend, he shut his restaurant down and he says, "What do you think I ought to do?" I said, "Well, now that you've gotten out of the restaurant business, stay out of it." And then all of a sudden he got on the distributor side. I said, "Well, you didn't listen to me." Now he's tired. But yeah, it is a very demanding industry.
It is. And a matter of fact, it's funny. I've got a franchisee that I brought on board a couple of years ago, and he owns, they're not franchises, but he owns several barbecue restaurants. And I told him, I said, "You mark my words. In a year or two, once you get your first gym up and running and you see the simplicity of our business model, you're going to want to get out of the restaurant space and open more franchises with us." And that is exactly what he's doing. He's selling his restaurants. Luckily for him, they own the dirt as well. So he's going to be selling the land, selling the restaurants, and they just bought several more franchises from me. So
yeah, no, I like what you said, selling the dirt. A friend of mine, he kept the dirt, but he sold the restaurant, he sold the dirt, and got out of the restaurant business for the location. He sold it for a pretty good amount. So I mean, if you're looking at it as an end game and you can get out, because it's demanding. I mean, it's everything that anybody will tell you about. There's no predictable day. Every day is different. The generator goes out, or the refrigerator goes out. You're trying to scramble. The supplier doesn't bring the food they're supposed to bring, and then you're going to plan B. Everything's up plan B and C. I don't know plan A's. But tell me, go back to your college days. What attracted you? Because we'll talk to people and they'll have many goals. And I say, when you lose your health, you have one goal in mind, and it's get your health back.
Right.
So obviously we're talking health, but tell me how did you go about getting into the business?
It's actually a funny story. So guess where I was working? I was working in a restaurant. I was a server. Yeah. And I had a customer who came in that day that I served, and he said, we talked a lot, got along well. And he said, "Listen, my son is opening a gym literally right across the street from your restaurant. You should think about getting into the gym, the fitness business." And I thought, free membership and cute boys. I think that sounds like a really good idea. So I did. So I started working that summer, and I fell in love with the business. I really did. It's kind of a cool business because the more people you help, the more money you can make. Yeah. And I ended up getting into sales, selling memberships, and didn't know I was a salesperson, but you know what? I was. But I think when you get into a sales position and you're selling something that you truly believe in,
totally,
it's not a sales, it's you are really sharing information about something you believe in and something, that you truly are, at least for me, passionate about. And so selling memberships back in those days, it was not selling. It was just something I believed in. And I really liked the gym that we were at. I believed in what we offered. And then I started teaching group fitness classes that summer and fell in love with that. And I've been in the health and wellness space literally since college. Even when I went back to college, there was a local gym in my college town that I worked at when I was, in school. And I came back and worked at the other gym when I was, home for summer and holidays and things like that. And when I graduated, I actually went back to the first gym and got into management with them. And then actually became an area director where I was in charge of all of our locations here in Georgia. But then I also helped our locations within the Southeast. And so it was a pretty big job for a 20-something-year-old. And I was making really good money for a 20-something-year-old. But back in those days, it was very demanding. You made nice money, but you would start at 8:30 in the morning, and then you'd go until 10 o'clock at night. That's a long day. Now you may leave a couple hours, to go grab something to eat or run a couple errands or whatever, but you were there, for the most part from 8:30 till 10. So after doing that for several years, I was like, I think I love this business, but I don't love these hours. Mm-hmm. And so I got in, my degree was in advertising, was actually business, but with an emphasis on PR and marketing. And that's what I got into. And I actually got into sports marketing, which was perfect because it's, again, health. Did that for several years and then ended up starting a full service ad agency. But our niche was health and wellness and hospitality because I knew both well.
Yeah.
And so I did that for several years, and Work At Any Time was actually one of my clients. We helped them. This is when because they've been around for 25 years. Mm-hmm. And when they first got into the space, they had not planned on franchising. Matter of fact, they had 9 locations before they actually started franchising. Wow. And the reason they started was they just had a lot of people who loved they really loved the model. We were one of the first gyms to have the key card, where people had access 24/7, which, so we had a lot of people asking us about, hey, we'd like to open one of these. And so that's when
I know Terri told me her internet has been going in and out with the storm. So now it's frozen. But when Terri comes back, we're going to talk to her about how technology has affected.
Okay, there we go. There we go.
Oh, yes, you're good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you.
Oops. Well, we have you frozen in a smile, Terri. I don't know if you can hear me, but you are definitely smiling, and we captured that screenshot. So we'll probably get you back in a second. There we go. There we go.
About that. So since the storms, the one issue we're having is we're still having some internet issues here at the house. So it goes in and out. So my apologies. No. But anyway, so worked with lots of different clients, and I had the opportunity, after having my agency for many years, to form a hospitality management company with one of my clients, actually. And it started out as kind of mom pop and really grew. We managed restaurants, hotels, private event facilities, spas, health clubs. So it was great, honestly. And it almost was too great because I had 3 sons who were super, super busy. And I went from being able to work from home a lot to having to be on site at different properties. And it just got to be too much. So I sold my percentage of the business and was made an offer I couldn't refuse to get into franchising, which was great. And one of my other clients made me that offer. So I sold restaurant franchises for several years. But my aha moment was I wouldn't own one. Wouldn't let anybody I knew and loved own one, not because you can't make money, because you absolutely can, but you're just so tethered to the business. Mm-hmm. And the Work At Any Time people I've known obviously for many, well, the one founder was my first boss when I was 19 years old. And so I've known him forever. And they got large enough where they needed help with their franchise development. So they came after me, and I'm so glad I made the leap, and I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, when you're aligned with what you believe, it's not work. It's that joy you get because you're putting people in an opportunity, you believe in the concept. And I'm going to ask you a couple things about that. But,
Sure.
you know, being aligned with something that you truly enjoy is incredible to have. What would you say? We'll get back to that, but you mentioned the key fob and technology's changing so rapidly. How have y'all embraced technology to make it? Because we talked about the turnkey, we talked about the simplicity of the business. Share with our viewers what are y'all doing that's giving yourself that edge out there?
Sure, with several things actually. So, we had the key fob forever. Well, now, we've got an incredible app, and the app has exercises and nutrition and tons of great information, but it also gives you access to the gym, which is great. So and everybody always has their phone with them. I mean, that's just kind of an extension of your body almost. So that's worked out great. And, for franchisees, the great thing about about your members having access 24/7, 365 is, say your quote unquote opener has a flat tire and can't get to the gym on time. Well, it's business as usual because everybody can get in, which is great. And while we're open 24/7, we're not staffed 24/7. So in the gyms and right at the door, there are cameras. We can see what's going on at all times, which is great. So we see who's going in, we see who's going out, we see what's going on with the gym. And I got to tell you, knock on wood, we just don't have issues. We just don't. Everyone knows that there are cameras and that we can see what's going on at all times. The biggest challenge we have would be after hours, people coming in and maybe bringing in somebody who's not a member. But we can see that and we call them and say, hey, we see you brought in a guest. Thanks so much for inviting them to your gym. They do need to join. So if you want to share their contact information with me, I will invite them to come in and join. And guess what? By sponsoring a new member, you're going to get X, which is great. So you just turn it into a positive, and it works out just fine. From a marketing standpoint, with AI, it's just amazing because most of what we do marketing wise is digital. And so, with AI, you can see what's going on with your ads, which ads are really getting the clicks, which ones aren't, push the ads that are, pull back the ones that aren't. And, what keywords people are searching for right now. So you use those keywords in your marketing. So technology, I mean, it's amazing. And then, as a company, like I said, we've been doing this for 25 years, just celebrated our 25th anniversary. Mm-hmm. And you can't stay the same. You can't stay exactly who you were 25 years ago and be relevant today. Okay. So while we have great strength equipment and we have
We'll hear from Terri in just a second when she comes back. And yeah, if you're there, we go.
There we go. And the premium amenities that we now offer, for the longest time, we've had hydro massage and we've had tanning. Well, now we offer we are doing a beta test right now with cold plunge at one of our locations in Arizona. So we've really put a whole recovery zone. We've added that to our gyms, and I tell you, it has really brought in even a larger demographic, because there are people who literally they may join just for those premium amenities. They may be runners outside, but they need to come in and get their recovery in. And the benefits of infrared and red light are just incredible. So, so we continue to evolve, and that's what good companies do.
Yes. You kind of see, and I don't know if it's a trend, you can comment more than I could, are people more motivated to stay healthy today than they were 10 years ago or 5 years ago?
I'll tell you where we've seen the big change is forever, for many, 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 many years. Typically, when you're looking at a population and we look at drive times around an area, we look at 15-minute drive times. And when we pulled that population forever, we knew that 20% of a population was going to join a gym. Didn't mean they were going to join your gym, but 20% of that population was going to join a gym.
Okay.
Well, COVID, I would say out of bad things, good things happen.
Sure.
And with COVID, people know now more so than ever the importance of health and wellness and taking personal responsibility for their health and wellness. So that 20% has jumped to 22%. And a 2% jump is huge. It really, it truly is. And so, yes, so we are absolutely seeing more people come to the gym. We're seeing more people come into the gym more frequently, which is great. And we're seeing more people come into the gym more frequently and using other things other than just coming in for cardio or just coming in for weights, really doing more of a well-balanced workout, which is great. And so yes, there has absolutely been an increase in the percentage of people who work out regularly.
Mm-hmm. So, I really love the concept of the cold plunge. How does that work? Do you have a hole in the gym and they plunge into the hole, and it's a obviously below whatever the degree is. How does that work in your gyms?
So we're just beta testing it in Arizona, and so I have not been to that location and I have not seen it.
Okay.
It's not a hole in the floor though. It's an actual. You get in an actual tub.
Oh, okay. And then the cold water hits you. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So as a director of franchising, what is your challenge? Because I see a lot of people moving from corporations and they bring their money and they want to do something. And I've always been very pro franchising. So what is your challenge as they're migrating to find a business? Do you find a challenge in that? How are you working with that?
So a tremendous amount of the leads that I do get are people who are either are or will be transitioning from corporate America, but they're too young to stop working. They don't want to stop working. They just want to do something that they're more passionate about. And so I do get a tremendous amount of leads from people like that. The biggest challenge really is making sure that they're financially qualified. Because to do this, while we have preferred lenders and we've worked with them for many, many, many years, they want you to have skin in the game. And so you've got to have liquidity saved that you can use to invest and then, and get a loan along as well. So to be financially qualified, you've got to have 250,000 liquid and a net worth of 750,000. And I get lots and lots of people who reach out to me, not necessarily the people who are retiring and moving on, but I have a lot of people, personal trainers, people who are gym rats. They love the fitness space. They're super passionate about it, but they don't have the financial wherewithal to do it. And so what the way we help them is, number one, if you find a partner or two, then between you and your partners, your combined funds will hopefully hit those financial qualifications. And with Work at Any Time, we have several father-son, father-daughter, husband-wife and kids, multi-generational. Matter of fact, one of my franchisees, he's great. His name's Brett Cisak, started out as a personal trainer at our Flowery Branch location, which is a franchise location, did it for a couple of years, was super, super successful, really fell in love with the business and said, Dad, I want to do this. I know I could do this. I know we could be successful. So his dad decided to back him. And so they opened their first location in Watkinsville, Georgia, opened a second location. And then Bill, the dad, fell in love with the Work at Any Time model, was retiring from corporate America, and he wanted his own Work at Any Time. And so he said, I want my own, and my wife and I want to retire up in the mountains. Where do you think would be a good location? So there's a real estate tool that I use called Buxton, and Buxton lets me look at population, competition, demographics, growth across the country. So we pulled one of the areas we really liked was Ellijay, and we said, what do you think about Ellijay? And that's in Georgia, by the way. And he said, I love Ellijay. And so sure enough, he opened up his location And they just bought 3 more franchises from us, and they're right now in pre-sales with their 4th location in Hartwell, Georgia, which is exciting. So
Yeah.
it's very cool. People will do this knowing that it is multi-generational. They may be able to, open some gyms and then pass
Yeah.
them on to their kids and stuff. So it's really, and it's I'm not going to say it's an easy business, but it's a very simple business. It's very, there's like restaurants. If you don't have a restaurant background, the last thing you should ever do is open a restaurant, because there's just so much to learn. Well, our business, I mean, we've got the processes, we've got the procedures, we've got the playbook. We've got fantastic people who teach, train, mentor, and support our franchisees.
Mhm.
And segueing from one business to this business, there's just not a lot of moving pieces. So it's, our job is to teach you everything you need to know to be successful.
Yeah.
And we do a very good job at that.
Yeah, I love what you said, simple. So tell our viewers, when you get into business, anybody will tell you, you got to work hard. That's a given. You got to have good work ethic. You got to build a rapport with people. But keeping things simple is not always something people embrace. And the more complicated we make things, the harder it is to get to the basics. What do you do, like, to keep it simple? Is that a corporate philosophy, or has it been ingrained in the structure of things? So help our viewers understand the
Sure.
word simplicity in business.
Yeah, our mantra is keep it simple and do it with integrity, and that's what we live by. And we do listen. I have people who come to me, and they don't want to keep it simple. They like our model, but they want to do X, Y, and Z, and X, Y, and Z is not simple. And we don't approve everybody who comes to us, because if you've got to embrace our model, and you've got to want to take what we have and run with it. Listen, we've been doing this for 25 years. We've made mistakes along the way. And typically what a mistake means is you've lost money doing one thing or another. We've done those things so that when somebody comes on board with us, they won't make those mistakes, because we've already perfected the model, which is great. And we, one of the things that we do at Work at Any Time is we have a tremendous training program. And so when somebody comes on board, they do a whole online bridge training. And then we have certified gyms that are gyms that we have franchisees go to be able to shadow, to be able to work with the best of the best. They then come to our franchise academy, which is a 3-day academy. And you take everything you've learned online and in the gyms, and you put it into action with other new franchisees. We don't charge for our trainings, and we do all kinds of trainings year round for franchisees, we have new franchisees, and we also have people who may purchase an existing location. So it's called a transfer. The training that they need is not exactly the same training as a new franchisee needs, because they're not having to learn about the real estate piece and that stuff. And we do sales training for the team members. We do something called PPT, which stands for Profitable Personal Training. All these trainings we offer, we do not charge for. You can come to as many as you want to. The online bridge training, you have access to all of those videos forever. So if you forget something, you can just go back and watch it. And by being so structured on our training, what that does is it gives us consistency. And so whether they go to a gym in Georgia or they go to a gym in Arizona, they're going to have the same type of experience.
Mm-hmm. We'll get Terri back here in just a minute. She's usually only out for a few seconds. There we go.
I know. By doing that, by keeping it simple, it's great for member experience, because you're
So it stopped at member experience. It's great for member experience. So tell our viewers, like when as you see AI coming in, it's certainly streamlining a lot of things. It enables us to do things. How are you guys using AI? Are you doing anything in the gym that's implementing that technology?
Not within the gym, but some of the things that we do within the gym utilizing technology is number one, we've got QR codes. And so on each piece of equipment, if you're there and say you're there and it's non-staffed hours and you're not quite sure how to use the equipment, you literally scan the QR code and a video pops up and will take you through the proper way to use that piece of equipment, which is awesome. And a lot of the messaging that we'll do, within the gym, we will have these QR codes where people can, if it's something they're interested in, whether it's red light, a lot of people don't know what red light therapy is and what all the benefits are. So with these QR codes, they can find out this information and not feel funny having to say, "Hey, what is this? I don't get it." So that's some of the technology, that we use. From an owner standpoint, we work with a company called ABC Financial. They're the ones who do all the billing and everything for our company. They're the biggest and they're the best. And a lot of my franchisees own Work at Anytime franchises in addition to other businesses that they own. And my largest franchise partner has got 19 locations in 6 states. So needless to say, he's not able to be on site at every location every day. But with the technology that ABC Financial offers, he can see exactly what's going on in his gym at all times from a financial standpoint, number of new members, number of what the personal training revenue looks like, everything that's going on in the gym. And so that makes them feel a whole lot more comfortable knowing that they know, even if they're not on site, they know what's going on 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah. I was with US Foods when KKR bought them. And I was in a manager's meeting, and they talking about knowing your numbers. They have models. And so this president was questioning something in the meeting, and it was like, the guy was being nice, but he said, "Look, we do this all the time. We know our numbers. It
Right.
works if you do it this way." But getting people to buy into a system, buy into that kind of thing, because you're right. If you do know your numbers, because you have to work hard. But keeping it simple is so powerful for business owners. I mean, the guy that owns 19 locations, if it wasn't simple, he wouldn't be able to manage that. I'm sure he has some
Sure.
time with them.
Well, he's
So
got, hiring good people and creating a culture where the good people that you hire want to stay is huge. But from a simplicity standpoint, and this is going to sound simple, but it is what it is.
yeah,
Keep your clubs clean and sanitized. Keep your equipment well maintained. Hire friendly, service-oriented people. We want your gym to be the cheers of the gym space.
yep.
And follow our playbook. And if you will do those 4 things, you can do close to 70% of my franchisees own multiple locations.
Wow.
And that's truly a testament to the success of our business model.
No, that's really good. And I want to be sensitive to your time, because
Thank you.
So tell our viewers, how can they get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So the website to find out more about Work at Anytime is workatanytime.com. And then there's a tab, Own a Gym. Click on that. And that's the whole development site for becoming a franchisee. What I love about that site is there's several videos from our franchisees, and they are non-scripted, but they are testimonial videos, and they talk about every aspect of our business. And so it's really, really great information for sure. If you want to reach out to me directly, you can call me or text me, and my number is 404-786-7410. And my email address, and it's also here, and I appreciate you putting it there, Pete, is Terri, and that's TERRI .Harof, and that's H as in Harold, AROF as in Frank, at workatanytime.com. If you've got any questions about becoming a franchisee with Work at Anytime or just franchising in general, I've been doing it for a long time, and I do consider myself an expert, and I'd love to help you.
That is awesome. Well, Terri, I want to thank you for taking your time to be a guest and bringing to our viewers. I'm very much dialed into health. So I understand the path that you're on, the alignment and the excitement you have bringing this to the market. What would you say also? What would be the one thing you would want our viewers to take home from our time on this podcast?
Well, if you want to talk about the structure of our organization, we started 25 years ago. Our founders, Steve Strickland and John Q, have been in this business for many, 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 many years. They're as involved today as they were 25 years ago. Our company is debt-free. And we have, if you're ever looking at franchises, one of the things you absolutely want to do is talk to other franchisees and really hear from them why this might be a good fit for them or not. So if you're looking at franchises and you really are serious about wanting to make the leap, make sure you do your due diligence, visit locations, talk to franchisees, really scrutinize the FDD, the franchise disclosure document, so that you and make sure the person who's doing what I do gives you all the information you need to make a great decision. And if you do all of those, you'll be just fine.
Awesome. Well, Terri, thank you so much, and we appreciate you being with us on the show today.
Certainly. Thank you so much, Pete. Have a great